Anyone who isn't confused by the Michigan Republican Party doesn't understand the situation.
I better not start the questions, I'll get in trouble.
I might be a little confused, but I do have complete emotional clarity. I'm feeling the exact same thing I felt after the 2020 election was stolen. But now I know who stole it. It was Pete Krookstra and his team of 40 Me First State Committee members and a sold-out judge. Ironically, these are the same people who believe that the elections weren't stolen. It was the most secure election of all time. There's nothing to see here, folks. Keep donating.
All right, move on. Nothing to see here. Please disperse.
The fine line between clarity and confusion, fact and fiction, truth and lies have been blurred into a storm of contention within the Republican Party. The first domino fell when Krookstra bypassed the state committee and sent out an email 11 days before the Detroit caucus to change the location to Grand Rapids. This set off a cascade of events that spiraled into an abyss of uncertainty. Who's the chair? What do we do? Where do we go? Do we obey the rules and send out our credentials to the MIGOP secretary? Or do we send them to Stu Foster's Red Pact, who's pretending to be the Michigan Republican Party? Or do we send them to both? Let's get to the truth and talk to Angela Gillis. Angela, what is your official role as secretary?
So the secretary of the Michigan GOP is an elected position. It's completely voluntary. So I was elected in April of 2023. And the secretary is the official record keeper, sends notice of meetings, documents all meeting minutes, keeps record of standing committee meetings, and really supports the state committee in all of those types of administrative duties. And then also as the secretary, I'm a voting member of the state committee.
Where were the county chairs supposed to send their credentials to?
Per the county and district convention rules, the county chairs were supposed to submit their results to the Michigan Republican Party at the secretary email address, secretary@migop.org.
When was the deadline?
The deadline for county chairs to submit their credentials was Wednesday, February 21st.
How many counties sent their credentials to you?
Yeah, 72 county chairs had submitted their credentials to me on time. We verified all of the information. We confirmed with county chairs regarding some of the questions we had with their submissions. We had received receipt of all of their, any of the edits and changes they needed to make.
Based on the rules, would it disqualify counties from participating in district caucuses if they didn't send them to you?
Per the rules, it would disqualify counties from credentialing delegates unless they, if they didn't submit by the deadline of Wednesday the 21st, unless they followed the credentials challenge process, which would then allow the credentials committee to meet and determine whether that credentials challenge would be recognized or not.
Were you ever notified or instructed by Pete to send the credentials to them?
They never asked. They never asked me for any credentials information for any of the counties who had submitted to me.
The rules, once thought to be the pillars of the Michigan Republican Party, became a maze of ambiguity and dissension. With every email and with every declaration, clarity slipped further away, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and eventually disenfranchised voters. So now the ambassador is blaming you. He said that you missed the deadline, and that's why he couldn't accept the credentials from these counties.
I waited until after Judge Rossi's ruling to send the credentialed list to Stu Foster because up until that point, I was recognizing Christina Caramo as the chairwoman of the Michigan GOP, and there was no reason to send the credential delegate list to anyone else because at that time there was a district convention being held in Detroit, Michigan, and we were credentialing every county who had submitted their delegate list to us.
The Great Hoaxtra redefined the battlefield from Detroit to Grand Rapids. This was a convention relocated not by pen and process of the state committee, but at the hands of a relentless tyrant.
Following the court ruling on the 27th, I wanted to make sure that regardless of whether delegates were recognizing Grand Rapids or Detroit as the district convention or a different location, that all delegates had the opportunity to be credentialed. And in good faith, I submitted all of that information to the Hoaxtra team, to Stu Foster, who was managing managing all of their admin, it sounded like. I emailed the list of full 72 counties to Stu Foster and included Rob Steele on that email. I sent that Tuesday, February 27th, and then I resent that email to Stu Foster and Rob Steele on Wednesday, February 28th. In both of those emails, I asked for email confirmation that it had been received and that they would credential those delegates, and neither Rob Steele nor Stu Foster responded to either one of my emails.
Grand Rapids now becomes a symbol, not of unity, but of division, because Adolf Hoekstra barred 25% of the most conservative, Trump-loving counties from participating in the caucus. He said that they turned their homework in late and he wouldn't accept it. Could it be that he's punishing them for supporting Christina Caramo?
I've received not one single email to my secretary email account from Pete Hoekstra's team. I've not been a part of any of the communication. I've not received any documents or records from the March 2nd District Convention. I knew nothing about the state committee meeting happening on March 2nd until the rest of state committee got the email notice that the meeting was happening. So no, I've been completely shut out.
Did Perfidious Pete act out of fear of being removed, or does he want the caucus process to fail so he can appoint his own superdelegates? District 1, 4, and 9 made a stand against the injustice of barring our counties. We called for a district presidential caucus in our own neighborhoods where all votes would be counted. And more people showed up to our caucuses than showed up in Grand Rapids. With less than a 24-hour notice, the supermajority of our county slates bravely showed up. We the people were there in force. We voted 100% for President Trump.
All those for Donald Trump, please stand.
99% for Ralph Rebrandt and Bernadette Smith for committee man and committee woman. But their elections are being stolen. On March 16th, we are having a Stop the Steal protest at the MIGOP building on Seymour Street. The emotional clarity of those who were disenfranchised burns bright. We are praying, we are calling out, and we are uniting against this injustice. We will not quit, we will not give up, we will win. And we will see you at Seymour Street building on March 16th, high noon. Don't miss it. The storm is upon us. Be the thunder and lightning.